Hello, I'm Jim Miller. Reggie and Terrence are on assignment tonight. The FlipSide starts right now. Good evening and welcome to the show. We're pleased to have with us tonight from Augustoberfest, which is coming up very, very soon, Jill Colbert, who's the chairperson of that event, and Cody Hill, who's the marketing and communications chairman. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is a big event every year. I think it looks like it's getting bigger. I'd like to start out with some history, though. What can you tell us about history of Augustoberfest?
So how it all started was the mayor at the time, his wife was German, obviously, they all were, and she wanted to have a big family reunion and went to Charlie, at the time the owner of the Schmuckelstube, and asked if he would cater the picnic, and it was going to be fairly sizable reunion, and in typical Charlie fashion, he said, well, let's make it a party, and then it became a party.
And when was that?
Well, it will be
26th year this year.
This year, and so 28 years ago it would have been. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they put it on for the weekends. You know, it's gone through a lot of transformation. When it first happened, they did a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. Friday night was more like 60s Under the Stars, and that kind of like fizzled out. I think from what I understand, I was not involved back then. It was more output of money than what brought in, so they just kept it to the weekend. And eventually they actually then became the 501c3 and made it a charitable organization. So it's Augustoberfest Charitable Organization.
Okay. What else do we need to know from a history perspective? Do you have any notion of how it started in terms of I know you said it was obviously smaller,
yeah.
But what type of events would we have expected to see?
From what I understand, a couple of hundred people.
Wow.
And, you know, when I came on, Phil Kelly was the chairperson at the time in 2007, and we were having Saturday and Sunday downtown. There were roughly around 1,500 people that came over the weekend, and when right before COVID, I think it was one of our largest crowds. We had about 4,500 people that showed up on the weekend. So,
and it's still a 2-day event?
It is still a
Okay.
2-day event.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And so obviously Charlie is no longer with us, but Dieter, I'm assuming, has taken over in his stead.
Yes, he has.
Yep.
Yeah, Dieter is a wonderful and very energetic with us. So yeah, he's my vice chair.
Excellent, excellent. Let's talk about Charlie for a second. Charlie was I remember growing up here when Charlie first opened the restaurant, and a lot of amazing history there, and just I don't know when he had any time to do anything else but work, because every time I went in his restaurant, he was always there, whether it was Tuesday afternoon at lunch,
Yeah.
or whether it was Saturday at 7 o'clock in the evening. Tell us about Charlie.
Well, yeah, he was a very passionate and hardworking person. I think he loved our committee because everyone that was on the original committee, every one of us were perfectionists like he was. We emulated his behaviors because we pretty much had those same kind of type A behaviors. We were our worst critics. We were very, very hardworking. We didn't have, I'd been on committees before where people would say, oh, that's not my job, that's your committee. And this organization's never, ever done that. And I think it was his fostering of if you see something, you pick it up and you do it, make it right. He was one of my biggest mentors about that as well. And, the standing behind the scenes, you've seen him where we would just, have those inside jokes and giggles, but yet get back out there and get working. So he had a flair for just greeting everybody. He was Mr. Hagerstown, And the festival people knew, they wanted to ask, they would ask if they didn't see him out and about, they would ask you where he was. And, that was just his dream. And I know at one point he wanted to move it and I wasn't ready to move it. And, now we did. And we said last year, I know that he would be very proud of what we put on because we're keeping that authenticity. And that was one of the things that he really also strived is it's going to be authentic, not just a beer festival or just any kind of a festival, but really trying to teleport you over to Munich and enjoying what people that get to do that over there.
So I was associated in the early years with the Blues Fest. I wasn't so much associated with Augustoberfest. Blues Fest obviously morphed over time. From a menu perspective, from what types of things happened, can you talk about how it morphed over time?
Yeah, I think the menu has pretty much stayed the same. We did dabble in a couple of years where we tried a couple of extra items. One did not really fare well. I think people don't understand that curry is also a German kind of thing, and so we try to do currywurst and in a sauce, like a curry sauce. And so we said, you know what, we're just going to stick to what works. The brats, the pork roast dinners, the homemade potato salad, and the sauerkraut and the cabbage, and it just is what it is.
And don't forget the spätzle.
I
Oh, the
was just gonna
spätzle.
say,
Oh
you
yeah,
cannot
how could I forget
That's
that?
a favorite.
And the hunter sauce with it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I love
yeah.
that stuff.
And the mustard. It's
Yes,
all about the mustard.
it is all about the mustard.
And the
Yes.
French fries are amazing
They
as well.
are.
You
And the
know?
mustard.
Well, and I got
The mustard, yeah.
I learned the secret the first year I volunteered back in that area, and I had done beer and some other things a couple of years. But the first year I volunteered, the first assignment they put me on was French fries, and I learned
remember
the
that.
double frying technique, and I was like, "Where's this been all my life?" you know. And then I got to learn how to make spätzle, which I still make to this day.
Oh, that's so good.
So, the spätzle is amazing.
It is amazing. It is.
So, so the menus really haven't changed. What about the activities?
The activities have some of the activities when we moved out to the Ag Center last year. It's a lot larger space. The children's area is a lot larger also. We were kind of confined to certain dimensions to keep into their tent area, so really weren't allowed, we just didn't have a lot of wiggle room. And taking it out here, we've been able to do bounce houses now, which we didn't really have that opportunity. They're doing more arts and crafts. The puppet show's still out there, the
Yeah.
magic show.
They still have Professor Horn, they still have the maypole, all that fun stuff that I think people really come and look forward to. But the new additions are good. It keeps the kids occupied for a longer amount of time. It's very family friendly.
So and that's a good question too. What have you found historically? What was the demographic of your audience when you started? What does it look like today? And how or if it has that changed?
When I first started, the demographics were, you saw some families, and they were in the children's area, but it was families with little kids or the grandparents or the 30, 40-year range upwards, and then with the children. But as time progressed, we really started to see a lot of the younger generation. So you saw those 21-year-olds and 30-year-olds out having a great time and dressing in dirndls. And
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
I mean, that is one of the things. I have gone to several Oktoberfests to learn throughout the years, and I dress up in a dirndl, and we're normally the odd person out. And the nice thing about it is with our festival, everybody dresses, and they now bring their friends and they get their friends involved to dress. And they've even asked, last year I was asked for folks, do I have to wear that volunteer t-shirt? Can I wear my dirndl or my lederhosen? And I'm like, sure, you can wear that if you want to. I mean, it's awesome that they want to dress up like that.
So I should go shopping before I
Yes.
volunteer this year.
Why
Okay,
not?
that sounds like a road trip.
Yeah.
Is these are things you buy online?
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazon.
That actually sounds very fun.
Yeah.
That actually sounds very fun.
I think that's what makes the festival great, though, is because it's come one, come all. It doesn't matter how old you are, you're going to have fun. We have little kids that come dressed up, and then everybody wants to get their picture taken with them because they're so cute. And then, you have the more elderly people that have come for years, and, they've been to every single festival for 26 years, and they'll tell you all about it. And what you did right, and what you can improve on for next year.
Yep.
But that's the great thing, that people always come back. I think we, create those relationships. So.
And they come from all over. I
Yes.
mean, we have people that come from Ohio and Michigan and North Carolina on a regular basis. The DC area, I mean, they bring their, groups, and they have certain spots where they sit, and it's just really neat to see,
So obviously we have a sister city relationship with Basel, Germany. And I don't know what part that played, if any, as part of the festival in the past or in the present. Can you talk to that? Can you tell us what the...
Yeah. So when we became a charitable organization, the main goal was to be able to help the Sister City Foundation. The foundation has foreign exchange students that on 1 year they take the U.S. kids over to Basel for a couple of weeks, and they immerse them into the German culture. And then on the opposite year, the Basel students come over to America, and the sister city takes them all over and immerse them into the American culture. It's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And so one of the main goal was for us to, as we were holding these festivals, is to try to raise as much money as we could and give it to the sister city to help offset the expense for the students. Normally we would be, and they always would request, this is what we want to do this year. We would need X number of dollars to be able to do, take the Basel kids to New York City or DC, whatever. So, average was $2,000 to $3,000 that we were able to raise for them. Last year we raised $4,000. It was our largest year that we were able to raise.
And how many students are involved in that? Do you know that? I know that's
It varies from year to year. We do put it in our program. Connie Lenhart is on our board, and she's the Sister City, affiliation with us. She keeps that partnership going very well.
That's amazing. You had mentioned that in the early years it was not a money-making event. Clearly that has turned around. Talk about that progression.
Well, from when I first inherited or came on board, yes, it was not the big moneymaker. And so we sat down and we tried to look at everything that we were doing. What could we add? We saw that different layouts, different advertising, and then the crowds continued to get bigger and bigger, where we were able to then start putting out money for the Sister City affiliation. I think that just having the knowledge of what we were trying to do, a lot of that was not known for a while, so that was one of the pieces that I didn't understand. And when I first became the chairwoman, I said we should be promoting this more. It's not just a festival, it's a festival with a purpose, and that's raising money for these scholarships for these kids. So we tried to incorporate all of that, educating the people. We have it on our website, our Facebook, things of that nature. And in those years that were in the black or the red, we just buckled up and prayed for the next year. And eventually we were able to get better and better. There were a lot of costs that we had to take a look at. Just like a business, you're looking at can we cut any expenses?
Hey, you can't deficit spend. That doesn't work.
No.
I think we're very fortunate, though. So one of our biggest ways we're able to make it happen is we have a lot of great sponsors that partner with us. So they're always, when we call them each year, we have some that have been with us for many, many years. And when we moved it to the Ag Center and we got a new audience, if you will, we inherited a lot of new sponsors. We're like, I want to be a part of this. I want to join. This is great. And so we try to reciprocate their sponsorship with tickets, showcase their business throughout the event, and help get them business, pay it back, if you will, for what they provided us. But it's really a pay it forward kind of program. They help sponsor the event, get the event going, then we pay it back in other ways back to the community through the sponsors or through the donations to Sister City and some other organizations.
One of the things that struck me as I started to learn about it is this is not a really expensive event for families to go to.
Yeah.
I
No.
mean, what's the admission cost?
$10.
Yeah,
12 and under
And 12
free.
and under free.
12 and
and,
under free.
And the entire children's area, everything is free there.
right. And even the cost of food is
Yeah,
reasonable.
we try to keep it as low as we can. Yeah, and we want it to be affordable, so that people can come out and enjoy family time. And right now there's a lot of things that are just the expense has gone up.
Yeah.
We had to raise prices last year a little bit because the cost of our food that we're having to pay, and ice and sodas, that went up. But we try really hard to keep the cost down.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, we have more to talk about, but let's take a break here and we'll come back again and we'll talk more about Augustoberfest. By the way, before we go, we got to hit this every time, every segment. When is Augustoberfest this year?
The 19th and the 20th of
19th
August.
and 20th August, and your website is
www.augustoberfest.org.
Augustoberfest.org. All right, excellent. Stay with us. We'll be back after this commercial break. Welcome back. Once again, we're here with Jill Colbert, chairwoman of the Augustoberfest for how long now?
13 years.
Wow, that's amazing. And Cody Hill, marketing and communications chairman. Thank you again for stopping by and visiting. So let's talk for a minute. I know you moved, and we'll talk about the reason why you moved, but and I know there were logistic reasons, but the city supported Augustoberfest, hosted Augustoberfest, was a big a part of Augustoberfest. I remember my good friend Karen Giffen
Yep.
and many, many others.
Yes.
Talk about how the city helped you over the years that the festival was in Hagerstown.
Yeah, I mean, they were with us for the 24 years, first 24 years before COVID hit, and they played a huge part. Not only did they help with setting up the tent, making sure you had the electricians on board, they did the parking garages, advertisements, press releases, made sure like our insurance was up to date, printed things for us, got our volunteer shirts, picked up a lot of the behind the scenes and the logistical things that they would take care of. They also were the folks that started the vendors, and they took care of all of the vendors. So we did not have to be bothered with the vendors at that point to find another person. They sat on with us. They weren't able to be official board members, but we had meetings with them all the entire time. I'm trying to think of what else. Provided the police officers. They would pay for some of the HPD. They did a lot of in-kind sponsorship for us.
That's great. So that changed. You're saying after COVID is when the move happened. But logistically, I mean, given the growth, wasn't that an inevitable conclusion, regardless of the fact that we got interrupted by COVID for a couple of years? Because I mean that's a nice area, but it's a small area. And the other thing that always struck me is you had to bring all of this stuff in. Whereas this year, when I called you and said I want to volunteer, you said what's out at the Ag Center. I'm thinking, wow, they've already got buildings.
Yeah,
You
and
don't
a
have to bring in a
kitchen.
tent. I can't imagine those tents are inexpensive.
No.
So talk to us about some of the benefits of the move and how it's allowed you and will continue to allow you to expand.
I mean, one of the things we were looking at, like I said, Charlie was wanting to move it, and at the time with the volunteers situation, just me being a little bit nervous, I just said, no, let's not. But then the last probably 2 years, we were looking that the cost of the tent was it's just so expensive.
That was a big tent.
It was a huge tent. Plus we had the cook tent, plus we had the children's tent. So all of that was just getting, and we bid it out. And Allied, who we work with forever, they were the cheapest, but it was still, almost $40,000. And what that was doing is starting to cut in on our ability to make a profit or whatever to give to the other foundation. So that was being discussed, and then COVID hit,
And so we had done a little miniature festival here we had canceled in 2020 because of COVID. And then in 2021, we did a little festival in the University Park there downtown. So then 2022, when the time came around, we were able to really have that full festival again. And it came down to where can we do it a little more cost effectively. And we did, do a little shopping around to see who could host that and who would be accommodating. And the Ag Center was, the winner, and they've been fantastic to work with. Erin and her team out there are great, and we've had a lot of benefits from the move, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the downtown, we were getting big, and we weren't able to accommodate everyone. We were literally running out of space. You couldn't find tables. We had to put tables outside in the sun because we didn't have enough under the tent. We just didn't have that capacity.
And now all those tables are already in place. You've got buildings in place. I understand that I'll be making my Spätzle indoors this year.
Yes.
I don't know how I'll react to that.
We do have a little cook tent on the outside, but it's right beside the kitchen.
That's
Having
excellent.
a kitchen is just amazing, but yeah.
Well, and you had to haul all of that equipment,
Yes.
plus hook up the gas lines.
Yes.
Plus, I remember one year there was that porta-freezer thing, and Charlie fell coming down the ramp. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I was standing right there when he did it. That was not a fun time.
No.
So I'm guessing none of that has to happen anymore.
Well,
then?
no, we still have the coolers. MS Johnston is our
Okay.
big sponsor for that. Just because of the amount of food that we
Well,
have
that
to
makes
store.
sense. Yeah.
We use the one right beside us with the food, and then the other one is all the drinks. So yeah, we still use those very heavily.
Okay.
But-
And the beer is the same as what we would have expected back
yes.
then?
Absolutely.
BP Lesky is our big partner for beer. Greg is actually a member of our board. He works for BP Lesky. It's authentic Hofbrau.
Shipped over from Germany
Wow.
on a boat. He tells us
We get
in our
updates.
meetings, we get an update. It just got put on the boat and it hit the harbor. So yeah,
Wow. And he does that just for this festival.
I think he does it for like some of the restaurants also. But yeah, I mean the big push or the main group of ordering Hofbrau is us.
So people that's a unique experience they may have by attending Augustoberfest if they don't frequent restaurants that he may also supply.
Right.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I know we talked a little bit about the menu, but in terms of this year, is there anything special that is happening menu-wise?
No, I mean, we still have, Dieter still will prepare all of the food. We'll have, hot dogs and french fries for the kids and bratwurst, and then the pork roast dinners and the Spätzle and potato salad and sauerkraut and the cabbage. One of the things that we were able to do, we tried it a couple of times in downtown, but again, logistics and space-wise, it just was not as successful as it was last year. We have people that come all weekend long and stay from 10:30 till 10 o'clock on Saturday and from 10:30 until 5 on Sunday. And, sometimes you just don't want to eat the whole entire weekend of the German food. And when we did bring in some of the food truck idea back then, it was pretty successful, but we just didn't have any kind of space to keep it going. So out at the Ag Center last year, we actually had a couple of food trucks, Bella's Bites and hand-rolled ice cream, and they were both very successful. And they are both back this year, as well as we're doing,
Fireside Pizza is going to be there this year.
yes, we'll have pizza as well.
Nice.
Yeah, and snow cones. So we're able to expand some of that, have a location, so if somebody, after they get their lunch and they want pizza for dinner or Bella's Bites for dinner, then they have more options.
Yeah, that's good. Now, see, I'm a purist. I'm a purist. If I'm, when in Germany, right?
Right.
Right. I mean, I was
Sample
fortunate.
it all.
Yeah, I was fortunate to take a trip to Wesel, and one of the folks that was with me, we were having lunch with the mayor actually, and they ordered Italian, and I'm like, what? What are you
That is
doing?
odd.
Okay. So it takes a lot to put this on, and we've talked about the board. Tell us a little bit about the board and how that's changed over time.
So as we've expanded, last year was our largest crowd. We had almost 7,000 people.
7,000?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So we were a little crazy, running around trying to figure it out for the first year, and we did very well. Only had a few little blips, and I said we hadn't had a festival in basically 3 years, and then you move it from a place of comfort to a place of the unknown. We've had to continue to expand our board membership because of the need, because there is so much that goes into, not just marketing and merchandising, but the volunteerism. It takes over 200 volunteers to pull this off. We have a lot of sponsors that we rely heavily on, both from a cash and an in-kind perspective. We've got merchandise that we're ordering. We're dealing with the children's area. We're doing vendors. We have entertainers that come back that are, very sought after entertainers, the D. Schlauberger team and dancers. So there's just a front gate, the admissions, printing tickets and posters. So there's just food, setting up the food, the beer areas. So we just needed to continue to grow our board and assign folks to different committees. So, we used to have like 3 committees, and I think we probably have, seven or eight committees
right
at this point.
And 200 volunteers.
200 volunteers.
So obviously the people that cook, you have the front end, you have the beer servers, you have cashiers.
Oh yeah, so you have, from the moment you walk in, you have to have people to make sure you get the money, get them in the gate, make sure they're banded, check IDs. And then you continue in and you have, the people selling the merchandise. This year we're adding a welcome center, which is a really great opportunity. Spikers was actually our sponsor for that. And so that's just a place for people to get that information because it is so much larger. It's like, oh, where am I going to find that now? It used to be over here when it was downtown. I need to know. So we have lots of maps, all that. But then, like you said, you have the cashiers. You have the people that have to serve the food, people that have to make the food, people that have to pour the beer. And it just goes on. You need volunteers for the children's area. You need people to take out the trash, help clean up at the end of the night. So there's just so many needs. So you really need all 200 plus of those people, all hands on deck to really accomplish everything.
So the welcome center, that will be kind of at the front of the...
So right after you pay, you get inside. That'll be the first thing you kind of run into. You can't really miss it.
Okay.
So we're really excited about that. But a new idea for this year that came up, but we think that'll be a great addition for folks. So,
what is the story about parking at the Ag Center? It would seem to me there's probably a lot of parking.
There is a lot, yes. And on Saturday, we will have folks that also help other events out there do the parking. So that was one of the feedbacks that we got, was that there was just, we partner with a veterans organization, and that was their first year out there as well. So they set up a first aid tent for us, and now we'll have these guys that do other events out there. So, so they'll be there from like 11 to 6:30, something like that. To help with the big crowds and the parking. But the nice thing too is downtown you always had to pay. Now it's free for our guests. So, and it's so much bigger space out there. We'll have, parking for our volunteers, parking for the committee, parking for the handicap. We'll have signage that we'll be able to show everyone. And when you get into the area, like Cody said, as you're getting your arm banded and you go out, the first thing you will see is the Welcome Center. And that was an idea that we came up with just because we had a couple of questions where, as much as we tried and we thought we had the food hall signage the right way, we just didn't.
It needed to be bigger.
Yes, and we had big posters of the map all around, but that wasn't enough either. So we said, you know what? When we had the entry, we put all of the posters and German magazines, things of that kind of did bottleneck people trying to get in. So let's take all of that out, put it in the Welcome Center, make maps, make it to be a place for lost and found. Children can come there. It's a family group area. Let's meet at the Welcome Center, and it's attached with the merchandise. So we'll be selling merchandise also. So it just says, we'll have people that can say, hey, are you looking for the food? It's this way. It's, the children's area is this way. Oh, our cornhole tournament is in the back. So.
Okay. You mentioned spikers, and I know there are probably all different levels of sponsorships and folks that do things. And we'll run a crawl of all your sponsors on the bottom of our screen. But talk to me about some of the sponsors that have stepped up over the years that really are noteworthy. Not that all of them aren't noteworthy. I know you appreciate every dollar.
Oh, yeah.
We do. We've had so many. I'm trying to think of some that have been with us a long time.
Phoenix Color.
Phoenix Color, for sure.
Phoenix Color does all of our printing, our rack cards, all of our posters, our tickets. They've been with us as far as I can remember. MS Johnston has been a very long time big one. Antietam Cable.
Yeah.
And, Spikers is new this year, which is a huge help with this Welcome Center. Trying to think of some of the other larger ones. And then we have other folks like newer areas, restaurants that are sponsoring golf carts. Tapia's on Main, longtime friends with me, and some of my longtime family friends donated their golf cart for me, and then Tapia's went and sponsored it to get a little extra money so that we just have that going for us. We have other golf carts that folks were able to sponsor, so some people, Penn Avenue Meats, a couple $100. It's just, it's what it is that every dollar or item counts towards us being able to be successful.
I think what makes it great is too, like we have sponsors that play nice together. I work for Middletown Valley Bank, but then we also have C&B, and Mary Jane from C&B is on our board. We all come together to make this happen. So, both banks sponsor. We even had Patriot Federal Credit Union was new this year. So they were joining, and then, we have Bushy Fight Moore and Architects. Then you go and you have Wesley Tire. So you have sponsors from every different business sector around the community that are willing to step up and help out and support through dollars, in-kind services. Like Jill said, MS Johnson, you got to have refrigeration. You have BP Lesky, you got to have people there to make sure the beer, get the kegs get tapped and all that. So it's a real community effort, and you have so many people that come together to do it. And we can't thank our sponsors enough for that, because it wouldn't be possible without them. It just wouldn't.
Maze Toilet, the porta potties.
Yeah, you gotta,
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh yes,
Okay.
and they are the best.
So let me ask you this now: are there still sponsorship opportunities available, or is that closed out for the year?
We never turn anything away.
It just might not be in the program.
Unfortunately, you might not make the
program
program
is-
if we don't hear from you by Friday.
Okay.
If you get to me by Friday at noon, we could probably make it happen in the program.
Okay. Well, we see this will air once between now and then. So we live in hope, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. For folks that are planning to attend this year's event, what should they know if it's their first event? What are the things they should do? What are the things they shouldn't do?
Well, don't make plans after, because you might think you're only coming for a few hours, but you'll be there all day. It's just easy. We take cash or card.
We'll have ATMs on site.
ATMs.
And my guess is there's more covered areas, so that
Yes.
it makes it easier to stay all
Yes.
day
Yes.
than when you were out in the hot sun.
So
Yes,
we
and the
need-
tents, that's the other nice thing too, is as much as we try to alter the tents with Allied throughout the years, the heat just radiated off of the parking lot, right? And you're in these closed tents. And to keep it authentic, what we did, we were able to look at the pavilions out there and say, hey, we can make these into little festival houses and name them. And so,
So you decorate.
we
Oh,
do
yes.
decorate.
Oh, really?
Takes
Oh,
2
yeah.
days.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
There's a boom lift involved.
Yes.
This is serious
Okay.
business.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is a lot. We start Thursday. Well, we actually start Wednesday night.
That actually sounds fun.
If you don't have anything to do,
I'm
you want to come
volunteering
out.
for that one next
We'll be-
time.
Have you driven a boom lift? We can
No,
get
I
you-
haven't.
Come on over.
You want to keep me off the boom lift, but
Oh,
I can
come on.
I
Yeah.
can hang stuff and climb ladders and do other stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
we have scaffolding that gets put together, and yeah. So it was a learning last year.
Mm-hmm.
This year we do a timeline, and I will tell you, Eric Dykey, when we were with the city, had a timeline, and it was a joke because some people would not look at it. I always looked at it, and I to this day have it, and it's color coded. And when I see him, I can't wait to show him how I have kept it intact, but it's expanded from Wednesday until Sunday. So, but yes, there's a lot that goes in the choreography of putting this together, and we are all covered. The food is inside a building on top of it, so you're not standing out in the brutal sun while you're in line like we used to do also, and that makes it a lot nicer. There's 3 different pavilions, and one is the main festival house. We house vendors in another house, and then a cornhole tournament is in a back house. So people that want to do cornhole, and last year we had a professional match, and it did so well that they're offering an amateur match also with this year. So
Excellent.
and then we have the beer garden, and that's under, and the children's area is under a building.
So what we talked a little bit about the children's area. Tell me about what goes on there.
So they are, there's a building over there that's all undercover, and I think there might have been there's bathrooms that aren't in use at that point, but they still have their Horns Punch and Judy show. They do the storytelling, they do the arts and crafts, make princess hats. They this year we are bringing back the face painting. We didn't do that because of COVID, but we're bringing that back now.
Don't forget the maypole.
The maypole,
Don't
they
forget the
do the dancing. They learn a German song
Yes.
also. And they have the puppet show and the magic show, and then the bouncy houses. So it's a lot of a bigger area for them as well.
Wow, interesting.
And all free.
Yeah. Well, $10 to get in the door. That's not
Well,
bad.
as a parent, but the children.
Oh, the children are
12
12 and
and
under are
under.
free.
12 and under.
Yes, and all of the children's activities are free.
Wow. You'd pay $10 to get a face painting.
Yeah.
I mean, or more. Well, you pay more, frankly. You would. Wow. That's amazing. All right, we need to take another break. Can you stick around for one more segment?
Yep.
Excellent.
We can.
Stay with us. We'll be back with Cody and Jill after these messages. Tonight we are here with Jill and Cody, we're getting ready for Augustoberfest 2023. It is festival number 26. Wow. So let's talk a little bit. We talked about sponsors. You talked about some of your long-term sponsors. Again, we're going to run the sponsor names at the bottom of the screen here during this episode. Talk to me about sponsor benefits. Obviously, they give you money. What do they get?
So we want them to understand how much we appreciate them. We give them back tickets. We have, depending on the level, you get X number of festival tickets. That's good for either day, Saturday or Sunday. And we try to be very generous with the tickets. As your higher levels of sponsorship, you get about a mug, like a Stein.
We do a different Stein every year.
Every year.
Really?
So one of our
Yes.
merchandise items, but we always give one of those to our
Nice.
bigger sponsors just as a thank you with that.
Yeah, a lot of advertising on our program, our website, Facebook, Instagram, and then on Sunday we have a private brunch that's out there. It's all you can eat and drink from 11 until 2.
For the sponsors.
All of it is handmade from the Stube, the German restaurant, and it is something that you cannot get in the main hall. You can buy the ticket online. We sold 11 last year, and they're $100 a piece. but the food is amazing,
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
it
say
is.
that might almost be worth it.
It is. It is.
Actually,
and
not almost. That would be worth it.
yeah, exactly.
Sign me up.
So we really tried, so if somebody's donating or providing a $2,000 cash sponsorship to us, we try to give them back like $1,400 within tickets.
Right. So what are the sponsorship levels generally?
So it starts at 100. If you have someone who just wants to be a partner, be a friend of the Augustoberfest Foundation, starts at 100, then 250. Then we go to a $2,500 level. So there's the Munich, Bavarian, and Wesel levels. And then really what has been really successful for us is the naming sponsorship. So something that we try to do is make sure that all the sponsors have the opportunity to showcase their business and what they've done to help us out. So with that being said, you'll see as you go throughout the festival that everything has a sponsor kind of tied to it. So the fest houses, the different areas, the golf carts. And it's just a way to make sure that they see some sort of benefit from their sponsorship because, yeah, they want to help, but also we recognize that, every business, same as us, we had to find a way to help make the festival more profitable. They have to make their business more profitable.
Right.
So we try to pay it back like that. And the same thing, when it comes to like the advertising that Jill was talking about, we couldn't possibly fit all of them on this nice little rat card that we give out. However, on our website, we try to showcase them. Social media, we showcase them. We try to patron our sponsors as much as we can. We talk about them whenever we have an opportunity because it's all about community and they, help us out, so we do our best to help them out.
Excellent, excellent. So in terms of, let's go back for a second, new visitor this year or older visitor, one that may not have been there in the last 2 years or the last year or so that it's been at the Ag Center. What should we expect? I know we talked about how to get in the door, the Welcome Center, that type of thing. What should we bring? What should we not bring? Those types of things.
So you can order your tickets online, and that will be a different line when you go in. And if you have a sponsor ticket or an online ticket, or you're just getting the ticket at the gate, we try to have different lines so that they move smoothly. Strollers are welcome. We can't have any outside food or beverages. Right. You need to bring in your ID. We do card everyone because we don't want to lose that picnic license for the weekend, and we want to be able to serve alcohol. If you're planning to stay all day, pace yourself. We have lots of room.
In the beer tent, pace yourself.
In the beer tent, pace
and maybe
yourself.
In the food tent too.
Maybe. And, we had a couple people that asked last year, even though everything is under roof, can I bring a chair? Because I want to sit out in the sun for a little while. You can bring a chair.
Okay.
If there are service dogs, they have to be vested.
Right.
We had a couple, but we're not really allowed to have any animals, although we are having a little parade. That's a surprise on our kickoff on Saturday. The official kickoff, if you want to see what happens, the keg tapping, you would want to be there by 2 o'clock. We have delegates that are available, any kind of representation. Some of our county commissioners will be out. We have a lady, Shawn Boxty, who has an amazing voice. She sings the national anthem and the German anthem.
Wow.
Lou Scally does our MC. I say a few things to thank people, and then we count it off, and the official weekend starts then at 2 o'clock. And this year we're going to have a surprise little parade to showcase some little dachshunds. So
Nice.
Yeah, so we're excited about that.
So, as you were going through that list, it occurs to me there is one group of people that I just completely have not asked about, and I need to. The city was obviously very crucial to you in the early years when it was held in the city. Tell me about the county, and do they help you? Have they helped you? What are they doing for the festival, if anything?
they've been wonderful. Last year, Cody and I asked to be on their docket for their meetings so that we could introduce ourselves. You know, we worked with the city forever. I knew HPD. We knew those comfort people. And so moving it, we didn't understand. We didn't know what the rules were. We asked, what are the protocols? What's the process for certain things? They were amazing. They told us, this is what you need to do. Here's this person. Hook up with this person. Apply for the hotel tax grant to get help with money to get your police paid for our trash and garbage. So, and then they, several of them were able, and they were in the weekend, they were able to come out and support us. And this year we went back and thanked them. And again, they were asking, make sure you fill the sponsorship or the grant money out. So they've just been amazing to us. Anything that we need, told us all the stuff that we needed to do. So it's been great.
So they have taken over the partnership since we're out of the city at this point. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, that's great. That is great. Okay. So what else should we know about this year's event? Is there anything that we've missed?
I think come prepared to have fun. I think we learn every year that we do this. So, like Joe had said earlier, we have so many different areas and all of that. And we learned a few things last year. This year, we made some changes that we think are really going to go over well. But come prepared to have a good time and pace yourself, because there is fun to be had all day long. I can't say enough about that. There's so many great opportunities for the whole family.
Great.
Yep, all ages, even young adults.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great time. The bands are amazing. The dancers are amazing.
And buy your German garb.
Yes, wear your dirndls and lederhosen. I will say.
Now the dirndl is the woman's?
The women's dress, and the lederhosen is the pants and the shirt, and then the strap. I don't know.
Short overalls or something.
Yeah, lederhosen.
Yeah.
But even I wear a dirndl for the keg tapping. Charlie was on me all the time for years and years and years to get a dirndl and to wear it. And I just would say, I don't have time for that. And last year, being the first year without him, I wore my dirndl, and so now I will do that every year.
What are your hopes for the future of the event?
I just hope that it continues to grow, and that we're a nonprofit. We have one weekend to try to raise as much money to be able to provide grant or scholarship funds or donations to other nonprofits.
So let's talk about that for a second. I know you obviously sponsor the Sister City Foundation. Do you sponsor other nonprofits as well?
No, we don't necessarily sponsor, but we do try to raise funds for. Last year we had we did so well that we had extra money, and we were able to provide some money to Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Club, and the Women's Club. One of the things that we look at is in our bylaws, we look at what are other nonprofits that may not have the outlets to, obtain a lot of scholarship funds or just any type of funding. We're trying to, each year assess what are those other nonprofits that are out there that may need or could benefit for $1,000 or $2,000 from us.
And it's looking at the needs too. I think when you think back to last year, the reason we chose who we did, the Women's Club needed a new roof over their auditorium space. And then you look at Boys and Girls Club, they were in their capital campaign to build the new facility. So it's really, it changes each year. The sister cities are stable, but those other ones, it's what are the community needs? And if we have that excess cash, we know it's not a ton, but we do what we can to help, and that's the exciting part about it. So the more successful we are, the more we're able to help others.
Every dollar counts.
Exactly.
Every dollar.
Every dollar counts. Last question. Charlie's not with us anymore. What would he say if he saw what was happening? What are your thoughts about Charlie and the spirit that he, I'm sure, still brings to the event?
He does. Last year was our first year. It was a very difficult year for a lot of us. And we have a table. As you enter into the grounds, you'll see it is a table with his picture and his story. Just like in the different clubs where the missing soldier, we have our missing founder with his
wow.
liter of beer that will sit there for forever, every year. And this year we're going to unveil, per se, the main festival house will be Charlie's house, sponsored by the Schmockelstube.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, and
That
he
is
was with
great.
us all last year. He was with us. And I know he would be so excited to see what we've done with it and keeping it authentic.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. Thank you to your board. Thank you to your volunteers for all of the hard work that I know goes into this. And you mentioned, I don't remember whether it was on camera or off in our pre-conversations, but you mentioned the perfectionist piece. That is evident in what you do. The level of precision, I'll call it, is evident in all of the events that I've attended. So thank you for that. And
Thank you.
keep on. I can't imagine this is not going to continue to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah.
So
And we don't stop. It's all year long.
All year long.
I'm sure day after you'll be planning the next one,
Oh,
right?
we do. We have a whole list. That's another thing that I think helps make it, is that we are critical of ourselves, but we all pitch in. And we, throughout the weekend, we all have notepads that will make a note what's going well, what's not, what can we change, what can we review differently. And our very first meeting is to go over all of that and get a plan for the following year.
So our viewers can get their tickets at Augustoberfest.org.
Yes.
Our businesses and even individuals that may want to sponsor do so by Friday, and that's at Augustoberfest.org.
Yes.
And I'm sure there are
And
many
volunteers?
other volunteers. Yes, I'm
Still
sure.
need some volunteers.
Still need some volunteers. So go to Augustoberfest.org, no matter what your purpose. All right. Well, thank you for being here. Again, thank you for your work. That's all the time we have tonight. We hope you will follow us on Facebook, like us on Twitter. We hope you will send us your feedback to feedback@flipsidetv.com. That's feedback@flipsidetv.com. Most importantly, join us again next week for another trip to the flip side. Good night.